The district does participate in operational function sharing, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. You may be, so don't be insulted when I explain it briefly. There are positions that were legislated that are called operational function positions, and we have a number of those that are shared. Those generate supplementary weighting for us. Currently, we receive weighted enrollment or financial incentive for a shared superintendent, a shared business manager, HR position, shared transportation director, and this year we'll add to that the shared buildings and grounds position. We can do that for 5 years with a 20% reduction of incentive each year. This year, for example, the SAC and Walleye Auburn districts will each realize a little over $100,000 of supplementary weighting for those shared positions, so those operational sharings. We also realize the benefit financially from whole grade sharing. There's a financial incentive for every student in grades 5th through 12th grade. That's available for us for up to 3 years. The third year of that incentive, though, is based on the fact that it has to precede a reorganization year, and that really will be one of the pieces of information that we'll want our communities to understand. Currently, each district receives about $140,000 of weighted enrollment dollars because of the students that we share in whole grade sharing. In addition to that, we have revenue generated from students that have shared instructors. So what I mentioned earlier, we have counselors, PE teachers, art teachers. At our elementary levels, those generate incentive as well. The reorganization incentive is for the first 3 years of reorganization, and that incentive ends by legislative action in 2014. I would like to emphasize that if we think about the financial condition across the country and in the state of Iowa, and if we think of the financial condition of schools in general, this district has reaped the benefit of the legislative incentives, but both districts are sound financially and are amazingly similar in their financial positions at the current time. Long-range planning. Well, this is a little tougher to be able to talk about because 3 or 4 years ago, when we have thought we were sitting in financial positions that we are today, many schools in Iowa are talking with each other when they've never been able to talk before. But the things that, there are 3 or 4 things I think that I can share with you. The one thing that I know personally is that we are a viable 2A school district in West Central Iowa. I know that in 5 years we're going to be smaller. I don't know how much smaller, but I'm pretty certain, as do all of the community members in our communities, know that we'll be smaller. But all of Northwest Iowa is getting smaller, and the majority of reduction in students in the state of Iowa comes from the northwest quarter of Iowa, so we're part of that. I do think, and I can say this with certainty, that we've been able to preserve the academic integrity of the district in a period of financial distress for the state and for the nation. Both districts are currently financially stable, which I had mentioned earlier. I think I'm saying something next to you that's accurate, that East Sac County Schools is a well-respected district, and we provide an education that allows students to move on to work or to post-secondary education. That would end my remarks about those 4 primary areas. Danielle spoke about directors, the means of election on a petition that the Reorganization Committee organized. I only have a couple of comments that I can share with you about that, and it may be that Reorganization Committee members have to address this if there are other questions. But when I sat in on those committee meetings, what I remember them talking about most was that they viewed a general election at large, to be the most equitable when they looked at both districts, and they looked at those maps of the districts and population. Each district, they believed, has an equitable opportunity to elect board members to the board to represent the new East Sac County schools. And I think what they believed was that it was a matter of get out and vote, so that you cast votes to represent your own district. Another piece of their consideration was concern about 4-year terms as board members. And in director districts, you might find people who would like to run, multiple people, in some director districts, but no one running. And it was another piece of their thinking about So why wouldn't we have election at large? And if there's any clarification that needs to take place in that, I know we've got several members of the Reorganization Committee that are here tonight that could probably help answer some of that, in addition to the comments I've made. And with that, I would end my remarks.
Thank you. Are there any specific questions for the superintendent on the matters that she just addressed? There's a later opportunity to ask questions, but any for right now? Seeing none, we'll move on.